Hello, it is Kim. It is 9:07 p.m., so a little bit later than I usually do if I'm going to do this on a Saturday. But I have to say that I am in hot mess pain. Doing a lot of walking, and today especially. I did get a magnificent oh, you should see the boots um outfit. There's this place called the Ossuary in Salem, which is where I'm coming from. This is Salem, Massachusetts. And yeah, so I made it there. It only took me 2 hours. I was like, yeah, if I get lost, I'll just see stuff on the way. Let me tell you, all I saw were people on the way, and they are in my way. I was in more ways than one in their way. And yes, I might wind up buying another deck or two. Though they're the same decks that I can purchase elsewhere. Now it has a slur, okay? But this is called the Gypsy Witch Fortune Teller playing cards. They said that's sort of as authentic as it gets here. In terms of, I mean, like Salem is not actually a witchcraft area. It is now. It's a huge occult area. I had no idea. I'm here for the historical, and I got to look at a cemetery that had been sold out. Like literally, like people were so there's so many people that they wanted to see the graves that they were paying for them, and they sold out. It's kind of squicky to me. Okay, like I understand business. Okay, I understand. So I have to say I did see a cemetery. Tomorrow I'm supposed to go on a historical tour. I'm hoping I can find it. I'm hoping that it feels historical enough to be here. I am by myself. Um, my companion decided he was not coming, and I think it had to do with, well, he said it was how he felt, but I think that it had much more to do with how his family was doing and that his family needed him. And I understand. Okay, like, do you choose family or do you do a frou-frou vacation with Kim? I would like it if he did a frou-frou vacation, vacation with me, but I understand. So this is our, I'm not going to say it again, but this is our, definitely our one for Salem. Okay. And it is not I haven't pre-done it. I pre-sorted or shuffled, I should say. But, yeah, then I'll pull from that one directly. They have like a whole spread that'll take too long, but the cards are sort of, well, let me just give you a quick look. You can see the back. And then like it'll say number 7, a bouquet of flowers of absolute indication of long and happy life. If children are near, extraordinary honors and fame. Sort of thing. So if hey, I mean like I did shuffle that. So if this is you, you'll know. Okay. So this is the week of the 7th. I'm not even going to give it a whole like shebang of what timeline because who knows? Believe me, who knows? Okay. So I have an Emily Dickinson deck, but it doesn't come with a guide. I asked them because they're selling them at the Emily Dickinson Museum where I was. I'm like, what's going on here? There's they had no idea. Obviously, the person didn't do tarot. No comment. No comment. Now, I do have a screen share. I'm hoping that'll go. It'll take a few seconds. But I think it is well worth it. This is my pictures of my trip so far. And I'm sure they'll they'll wind up in some book or something. But this is, of course, me, and this is my private area, the Emily Dickinson Museum, in Emily Dickinson's actual bedroom. Okay, so they set that up for me. So it's not exactly like they said, where it's like, we have a replica. That's all right. I didn't need a replica, but I did have a good time. Um, the person that was like babysitting me was kind enough to take photos of me as well. So I didn't have to just rely on selfies. I was very grateful for that. I have so many pictures of the white dress because it is of everything there. It fascinates me. Well, at the time, like corsets were really in vogue, and this doesn't have a corset. And it's more than a house dress, though. It's not as, it's fancier than just like a frock. And like there's pockets, so it's functional. Okay, that is the ceiling, guys. I laid on the floor. I did. I admit it. I have pictures of the carpeting too, but I don't have them here. You can sort of see them here where there's sort of like this edging and bumpiness. Um, yeah, I was totally on the ground. Looks like I was on the ground for this picture too because of this perspective. Now I did get to do some they're not called time lapses, they're called panoramas. So that was cool. The first one is from the far where I was sitting. And the second one is as well. I think it's just a closer up sort of version. So yeah. And then now we've entered to today. Why Kim is hurting is that Kim went to find the Anthenaeum. And I'm pronouncing that wrong. Totally pronouncing that wrong. But I went in the hopes that I would be able to find like Alice Hoffman's latest. Don't ask me what the name is. I was gonna look it up. Like it talks about the Athenaeum, and it's a really crucial part of the plot. So very first thing, and the reason I parked where I parked, $50, by the way, I was considered lucky, um, is that, yeah, to go in, you could sit down. I didn't sit down. I didn't sit down for 5 hours, but gotta be there to be there. Now there are other photos that I've taken, but these are just some of the ones that I thought that you would enjoy and maybe want to like see, some of the Kimness. Like total like goth gear was divine. Am I wearing the size that I want to wear? No. Like let's talk about it. Kim has this eating disorder, right? Or disorders or I have a thing. So when one is put into a 5X and I'm like, it's this is not a 5X size wise. This is like their brand that is 5X. They have different brands they cater to. And actually when I got it on and it's zipped up and stuff, I'm like, I don't even care. I don't care. Come here. It's fine. Expensive. I got boots, got a corset, got a little caplet. Oh, it was bad and good. After like the lack of success, it needed to be good. It did. It needed to be good. All right. So after that, we're gonna start with Emily Dickinson. I have a little bit of a sheet guide because, like, how you're like, there is no absolute way, no way. Okay, so this is a 3, and I'm pretty sure it's the actual 3, the Empress. Um, but it could be anything. It is inverted, so I'm taking all my inversions today because I mean, it is intuitive pretty much today as not like the complete opposite. It's okay. And there is nothing actually that negative. And the one that is inverted, like that I'm taking is inverted, it actually is better, inverted. So I was like, so I'm gonna put this up right because it's not gonna matter. This is the Empress. Okay. Don't ask me. It somehow has to do with Dickinson's life, but they don't give a guide. I have told them it's this. Oh, guide. But what it is, it looks like it's the trees. So that would be the evergreens. Is I think on the other side, I wasn't able to tour it because it's under construction. But that is Emily Dickinson's brother and sister-in-law, Sue. If you watch Emily Dickinson, the TV show, you'll see more of it, or is it TV, whatever it is. Um, and you'll see that Sue and she might have an intimate relationship. Who knows? The answer is who knows. But there was a special connection. So I have a feeling that this is her, supposed to be from the perspective of Emily, looking out, you know, and able to conquer the world. The biggest thing I took away from tour guides was that Emily St. Lee Dickinson wasn't just a recluse. She had a recluse, yeah, sure. She wasn't exactly out there and towards the end of her life, but during her, heyday, she wasn't exactly not social. She had different priorities that can make you seem odd and unsocial. But her priorities were definitely found in nature, found in gardening. She found her power, and of course, the pencil. She used the pencil a lot more than she did pen. So I think she probably inked her letters. Um, but yeah, so this is her in her power. This is her domain. This is her world, right? Okay. And then I'm gonna skip over one because we're talking about the world. And this is supposed to be the world. So you see more of this imagery of nature, right? She's known for her nature imagery. Every time somebody that's not, in the United States American uh, tells me, when you not to my face, usually it's like an interview. He's like Emily Dickinson. I'm like, I'm a spinster and I write about nature. And the answer is yes, but I'm like, so much more than that. Well, the thing is, Emily Dickinson was so much more than just a spinster who wrote about nature as well, right? Yeah. So there's a lot of parallels with that, how women are perceived, you know? So the world, it's out there, it's that green, it's the river, it's land. And it's not just land. I mean, it's just like encompassing, and you can just see the river go for as far as your horizon and past it. So that sort of makes it limitless, especially if you are staying right here. You're not moving. It makes it look like everything is around you and you are very small. And that is what the world does. So for us, what does that mean? Right? Okay, great. Empress. All right. And it was inverted, so I'll give you a little bit of that. And then the world. All right. So, Empress, we're clearly in Empress energy. Doesn't matter your gender. All right. I have to always point that out. Doesn't matter. And it doesn't have to be like, I'm in my divine feminine. Because if I knew what my divine feminine versus my divine masculine was, I'd be confused, more confused than I am. So let's just say you're in your power. Okay. And it doesn't matter if it's masculine or feminine or none of that. Just you're in your power. Okay. And it is possible that you have some doubts. It's possible that you might be a little bit manipulative in your power, sort of like moving it away, moving it not away. Okay. But really, I really feel that this is just us. All right. Empress energy. I did not give like Dalva a shout out like I was going to. She did offer to do this for me. So I didn't have to do a reading this evening. And I said, I'm feeling from serum. So that's why I'm here. Okay, so the world. So I would say we have the world. If you have the Empress, power, strength, knows how to command, and you have the world, um, you can go out and command the world. Now I would do that in a non-dictatorial way. Let's not be dictators, please. that does not mean that we can't just sort of go forth, you know? Okay. Now this one is an interesting one that I may have to look up. I admit it. This is a seven of swords. You see, like, to me, that bird looks bloody. And that's the only reason I really want to look it up is because I'm like, "Ooh, am I misreading it?" And the answer is, of course, you might be misreading it, Kim. But I don't know. I don't really get it as violent as it's saying. Usually, it's upright. It says betrayal, deception, getting away with something, acting strategically. So, okay. I mean, like, there might be some betrayal and deception, and that might be why that you know Empress energy was slightly askew and reversed, and that is just because I took it upright, right? Yeah. So I'm gonna go with like we'll go with it, but let's not go with it. And really, those five of swords, which is interesting because I thought the pens were hmm, maybe the pens are wands. See, you can see these. I thought that they were actual pens versus pins. Hmm. Again, they don't actually tell you. If they told you, you would know what's going on. Okay, well, we'll do this a bit intuitively. All right. So this is a five, and I still say that they are very pin-like. Like a little confused. There's three of them. I don't know. One is carrying him over the shoulder, one is in the front, and one is. Mm. So, like, part of me is like, it's the one that looks the most feminine, the most like, perhaps like closest to like the queen that we have, holding it, as more like a scepter. I'm gonna try to find like I wish I knew exactly like what this was supposed to be. I've looked it up too, and it doesn't say. If I knew. So I'm gonna call it a wand. We'll call them wands, right? Because yeah, sure, sure. All right. So the five of wands is upright, and it does look very much like this: conflict, disagreements, competition, tension, diversity. Okay, but it's not within this time like we usually get. It's without. So we might have some disagreements and competition and scaffolding. And like that goes with, sort of like the sword issue as well. So then to make life even more odd and weird, I think this one I have to take as a coins. I'm gonna put it up in a second once yeah. So this I think has to be the pentacles. I'm gonna make sure you can see it as I was not looking at the actual screen. Okay. So you can see pens there. And I think this is supposed to be embroidery. So I think that is like pentacles coinage. I don't know. This is like me sort of like off the cuff. I'll give you a real reading. But I don't know what they are. So the four pentacles usually, um, if it's upright, I mean saving money, security, conservatism, scarcity, control. So I mean, these are all things that are very valid for us to feel. It is. I'm sure that this is probably what the pins actually are now that I'm looking at it because I thought the pins were swords. So scarcity and control and conservatism. Now, conservatism doesn't mean, all right, if you're in the United States, it does not mean I'm a Republican. Conservatism just means you might you might not be a late adopter or maybe you have a traditional sort of idea of society, and you have to admit that embroidery like fits with that scarcity and control and conservatism, and it even saves money if you're going to hang it on the wall unless you buy a frame. um but I mean, like, it does go with some of the quote unquote more negative cards, right? So there is like a fight, a battling, a within and battling without, and perhaps the world is actually saying that we are we're being controlled, and we are being, in a conservative sort of situation. And then, there is this outward battle, and then there's sort of like an inward battle. Now, like, that is all very right and well. Okay, I really am. I really am going to do this correctly. You think? Okay. Now, I believe that this is the six, the actual six. So if it is, it's the lovers. Okay. So this is actually the last card I pulled. So technically, it is like we're ending on happiness. It's, this great nostalgic moment, if nothing else, if not actually within ourselves, a relationship like comes in. We do not necessarily need to be saved or have heroes, but perhaps we need to have a relationship of some sort. Does not have to be romantic. It comes and we discuss, and then things get resolved. So it could mean this, looking at a meaning that your love life is in need of extra attention. Or I like this better. You may find the lovers come up when you're at a crossroads. Consider the possible consequences of your choices, because that fits a lot better, right? That bird is in that cage. Now, here, the bird is in the nest, bloodied and with swords. But, like, you have to sort of decide sometime, is a cage better than that? It would be certainly more conservative than that. It'd be protective, but is it worth it? And that is where our individual choice comes in. We can choose. And the answer is to everything. If you decide that you don't like this reading, you say, no, I don't take this reading. If you don't like a certain card, you say, no. This is for every oracle, every divination thing. Okay. If somebody or if yourself say, no, I do not take that. I do not accept it. I do not. Okay. Emily Dickinson, just as confusing in the tarot as sometimes she is in her poetry. She has too many versions and too many variants, but I love her for it. Now you're gonna see me drink out of like the hugest bottle ever. I apologize, but like Kim has to get her stuff on. I'm so dehydrated. Um, Intimate knowledge. Some of my medication makes it a lot easier for me to be dehydrated. So it sucks because you're like, I have to drink, I have to pee, I have to drink. But it really sucks when you go 4 hours, no drinking, no anything. And then you're like, oh, it actually like hurts muscles, all sorts of stuff. I don't know. Like, chances are if I want to put a migraine, it's because I'm dehydrated. All right, I'm gonna hold it up. I'm not gonna say it. That's because I do believe it is a slur. And if the Roma people believe it is a slur, then so do I. I mean, like, I love my songs. I sing them in the privacy of my home. If you know what I'm talking about, you're old enough to know share songs. But I also do not say. I don't say the word. And I'd like to say that I've always tried to like find Roma in my family history. It would work with like where some of my ancestors were in the Slavic nations. But who knows? Okay, I don't know how many we're drawing from this. I know we're taking some time. And that's okay, right? I'm dressed up. I'm gonna take my time. Okay. Again, this is what it looks like. Let me let you that cat. All right. Number 37, the rapiers warn us against assaults, which threaten and will occur sooner or later according to this distance from the person. Okay. And when it says from the distance from the person, there's a whole little square that's actually used. Just hold it up. I don't know if it can be. Oh, yeah. You might be able to see that. You can see that, like this is like the person, and then you go around. And, there are different, of course, positions and different meanings. 19 through 32 means something. Ugh. I had no idea. And this is already going along. Right. So these rapiers sort of go back to our swords. And like tarot used to be a card deck set. That's why I was told that this was like so much, very much like if I wanted like the original. I didn't think I why would I get Seasons of the Witch when I can get it anywhere here? Is it a good idea? Like, I'm like, kind of interesting. I sort of want it, but I don't. I'm gonna show it to you first. I don't know what it is. Okay. All right. It's number 3, Ten of Spades. The rod near predicts families, quarrels, distant, pecuniary losses. All right. Well, there's a lot of hyphens there, by the way. Okay. So okay. So the rod near is probably like nearest to one of the other things. I would also, since we get the ace of swords or spades and the 10 of spades, we have a completion. Okay. It goes from one to the other. So I would say that actually what we're seeing is that there is an ending of the cycle. There might be a beginning of it again, but an ending of the cycle. So this can be a pattern of struggle, strife, and it can even be like a courageous hero's journey. It sort of depends on outlook, and how we like see ourselves. Are we victims? Are we heroes? It just depends because we all share the same arc. Different times, different starting places, but I'm a writer, I can tell you this. All right, it's got a dog. 4 of diamonds. The dog, if near, represents true friends. If distant and surrounded by clouds, beware of unsuspected enemies. So, again, in relationship to other cards, um, I would say just let's go with the true friends. It makes a sense with the 4. Um, and the reason why with the 4, why it makes sense is that 4s tend to be that more optimistic. 5s are not as optimistic. Sometimes it can be treacherous. 9s can be treacherous. 4s tend to be sort of mid of the range happiness. And like if we're going on journeys, 4 is sort of like that rest period where you're like, yeah, pet that dog. All right. King and the Bear. Number 50. I was gonna say King of Clovers. What's it called? Uh, Spades. Anyway, whatever they're called. Clubs, right? Clubs. Unless I got the spades wrong. All right, the bear is a sign of successful speculations. Yay. Okay, so all that stuff with Emily Dickinson stuff, was this also a cycle? Of getting out there, getting into the world, mostly major arcana. So like that means it's very incredibly powerful. And now you have another major arcana, technically. And the bear is a sign of successful speculation. There you go. So if you put yourself out there in the world, you go after your battles, You decide, this is a decision, if you want to be in the cage or if you want to fight. I mean, like both are hard. That is up to you. Clouds with the dark side toward the person indicates divorce. The bright side toward the person indicates domestic happiness. Domestic happiness it is. Good job. Good job. Domestic happiness. And again, domestic here in this deck, probably if it's like original, meant like domestic between like the families or whatever. But I think with us, we can easily say it's between our work relationships, our friendships, our online friendships. I mean, like, there's so many people that we wind up knowing and associating ourselves with that we don't even really know. I mean, like, that's the sense of it. I'm gonna try to, I think, unless like more jump out, I am gonna just do a quick shuffle and do one more. And then I think we're good. We're good. It's fine. All right. I'm gonna call it a club and you can correct me if I'm wrong. Number 5, the 3 of clubs. A tree, good health near flowers, fulfillment of highest hopes. And isn't that a wonderful card to end on, right? So we ended on several wonderful cards. We had the lovers, technically, if you can talk about Bird in the Cage. Although with Emily Dickinson, and a tree, good health near flowers, the Phyllis of highest hopes. So I hope that I don't know if it resonated or if it's just fun or if you loved it or or what or what. I was gonna try to find a poem, but I don't see a poem. Do I? Oh, I have Emily Dickinson's Gardening Life. I don't know if it really has poems. Oh, okay. We're just gonna go with bibliomancy. Emily Dickinson's Gardening Life, Margaret McDowell, page 38. Held a jewel in my fingers and went to sleep. The day was warm, the winds were prosy. I said, 'Twill keep. I woke and chilled my honest fingers. The gem was gone, and now an amethyst remembrance is all I own. I love amethyst remembrance. Yes. This might be why I'm known as her now. That Megan Spinster. Okay. Well, tomorrow, if I'm brave, let me try to be brave. I'm going to do historical. I'm supposed to be doing a historical tour. Um, I really want to find some books that aren't at Barnes and Noble. So think good thoughts for me. This is my I've been calling it my research. There is a book coming, and I'll probably show this on Facebook too. Now that it's here. Uh, this is the Witchcraft junk journal. I did not make it, but I own it. I use junk journals and other journals of that nature, um, primarily for inspiration when I'm doing projects that I don't know where I'm going with it. This is my Emily Dickinson journal. It says, "We turn not older with years, but newer every day." And I was able to do it in pencil. So anyway, that's my show and tell. I'm gonna probably do it, pictures of that. All right, take care. Be well. So it is.